Welcome to Transatlantic Wrestling Talk. I'm your host, Andy, and I'm joined as always by my partner in crime, Dale. How are we doing, brother?
Hey, Andy, what's going on? Welcome. You and I were talking about different years that we could actually embark down. And this was one that I really didn't want to do. The reason being is because I was going to be really biased, okay? Because I was at several events here, two of the major events, probably one of the best SummerSlams took place in my very own backyard. And I went to there. I had the privilege of going there and at the Nassau Coliseum before they killed it, and the barn, they call it. And then they had Madison Square Garden. They had Survivor Series. We're going to go into a deep dive into November of 2002. This is something that tugs on both of our heartstrings, correct?
Yep.
Yes. So without further adu, we would like to discuss 2002 November. Okay. I'm sure we were all ready for some football. That I was ready for, but you had soccer.
Right. We have our soccer, mate. We have the real football. You just done what you've done, a very American thing, and just put American in front of it and had a weird egg-shaped ball.
Good. Well, we like using our hands too, so that's why our women are pleased more.
Right. So first of all, I'm just going to go through these because while I was doing my research, I found Pro Wrestling Illustrated awards for the year, and it really made me laugh. So I'm going to go through these. But let's start off. Let's make you guess on which ones you think are which. So Wrestler of the Year for 2002.
Oh boy. Triple H.
No, Brock Lesnar.
Okay. All right.
Now this is the best one. Tag Team of the Year. Pro Wrestling Illustrated Tag Team of the Year. You'll never get this one.
I'm thinking of the SmackDown 6. So I'm way off. Huh? So it's not Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit. It's not Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero, and it's not Rey Mysterio and Edge. It's none of those.
Billy and Chuck. God knows how, but yeah, okay. Match of the year. Very easy one.
Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
No, Rock Hollywood, Hulk Hogan. WrestleMania.
Oh, right. Okay. I would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. Just for the iconicness of it and stuff,
Incredible.
And the crowd did everything about that match. Feud of the year. Pro Wrestling Illustrated Feud of the year.
Triple H, Shawn Michaels.
Eric Bischoff, Stephanie McMahon.
Why can't? Come on.
Most popular wrestler.
Shawn Michaels.
Rob Van Dam.
Oh, deservedly so.
Okay. This one kind of gets me because most improved wrestler of the year.
Booker T.
Brock Lesnar. So they've given the wrestler of the year and then the most improved wrestler. Okay.
I'm not whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on from there anyway. So yeah.
Who gave those out? Was that Uncle Dave?
No, Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Oh, PWI. All right.
Yeah. To be fair, Wrestling Hub News Observers is a little bit better. So Wrestler of the Year was Kurt Angle, most outstanding Kurt Angle. Tag Team of the Year was Eddie and Chavo. Most improved Brock Lesnar, and best on interviews Kurt Angle. So give Dave his due. Yeah,
you have to. Yes, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he's got that right. So just a little overview sort of November 2002. So we had WWE Super Tuesday for the first time, which evolved into Taboo Tuesday at some point in the next couple of years. I think it was 2004, if I remember correctly.
Yes, correct. And that led to the ultimate banger there, which was Chris Jericho and Shelton Benjamin voted upon by the that was completely on the fly. And you ask either one of those and they'll say it was one of the best matches they'll ever had.
Yeah. And then we had Survivor Series that come from New York, New York. Obviously, Mr. Fortungo was there. And then we also had Guerra de Titanes AAA event that took place back then as well.
Yes.
Obviously, they're still going strong now. So just thought I'd mention the AAA on that. But let's start off with Super Tuesday. I keep calling it Taboo
You,
Tuesday.
you missed that. You missed out on a very, very big deal, though.
Mm.
So at that point in 2002, there was one other thing that took place in my backyard as well in Franklin Square. And this was the first annual Big Dick Dudley Memorial Show. All right. So looking at it here, Psycho Sam Dudley won the annual Big Dick Dudley um, the inaugural battle royal. So, and his Wikipedia page is about one page. And his name was Cody, and he faced Kamala on an episode of WWF Wrestling Challenge. So, congratulations on winning the Big Dick Dudley Memorial Battle Royal in 2002 of November. So,
yeah. Okay,
excellent.
so really good news, mate. Really good. No, it's all wavy. It's all newsworthy. Now, we did start off with the Super Tuesday. Obviously, WWE were already exploring the ways of getting some more revenue. It was taped on the 4th and 5th of November 2002, and it aired on November 12th. We had Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit and Edge in a triple threat match. Trish Stratus fought Tori Wilson to a no contest in a bikini contest with Taz as master of ceremonies, which would have been fun.
Needed. It was
I
needed.
don't really
too.
get how it can be a no contest in it. Saying that, though, I suppose if you look at it, Trish Stratus and Tori Wilson in bikinis back then, it probably is a no contest.
But it's also everybody wins.
Yeah, 100%. The only winner, and this is the fans. Then we had Triple H, Chris Jericho, Christian, and 3-minute warning defeating Rob Van Dam, Kane, Booker T, Bubba Ray Dudley, and Jeff Hardy. Now, what was your thoughts on these kinds of events, Dale? And like, what do you kind of start trying to achieve?
Oh, easy. UPN actually had SmackDown only, and a lot back then, compared to now in the past few years, there was a very strict divide. It never really happened when you'd have Raw come over to SmackDown. So UPN had to showcase a bunch of other people from Raw. And this was a good way to bring in that talent to actually increase intrigue into actually purchasing the Survivor Series plan. And at that point, what was it, $49.99 maybe, or $39.99 to actually buy the pay-per-view before Peacock and everything. So this was a great way to say, look at what Raw has. I mean, looking at that, if I do recall now, in that 10-man tag team match, I believe that Triple H, Chris Jericho, and Christian were on Raw, as well as 3-minute warning.
Yeah.
Okay. They were on Raw. So I believe also, I think Rob Van Dam, Kane, Booker T, Bubba Ray, and Jeff were on Raw as well.
Yeah.
So that
was a Raw event.
Yeah. So if that were right, so it's almost like a very big Raw event.
It featured matches from both Raw and SmackDown. It was previewed for Survivor Series and aired on UPN. Yeah. So you bang on the money.
Especially for an hour. Rampage only wishes that they could do this.
100%. And, let's look at them, the star power in that. I mean, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and Edge all day. It's always going to be a great match, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's a main event anywhere else on any card.
Yeah. 100%. And then obviously we had the Survivor Series, which we'll go into. Now, Big Show was getting a real big push at this time, wasn't he? You know what I mean? And obviously it culminated in him winning a title.
Yeah.
I was never behind Paul White. I liked him as a performer and stuff like that, but for some reason I just never clicked with him as a champion.
Because he kind of looked like a guy that just did 4 or 5 basic things, and it's like, and it's unrealistic. It's like, how's Rey Mysterio going to beat this guy?
Yeah.
They did the right thing though here, because they finally, remember, Lesnar didn't take a pin. Lesnar never lost. He even won Royal Rumble, I believe, right? Yeah. Which then led to him versus Kurt, where he almost killed himself at the WrestleMania. But remember, he had that run, and Big Show came in and says, "You know what, Lesnar, I could beat you." The key there, 20 years later, Paul Heyman pushing Lesnar, saying, "I don't think you could win, man."
Yeah.
And just ramming it down. And just every week, he's been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And what happens during the match, Andy?
Yeah.
At that point, you had Big Show, I think he got F5 during the match.
He did.
Count goes to 2. When it's coming down to 3, Heyman pulls out the leg of the ref.
He does.
Out of the replacement ref, because I believe the other one was knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that's when it happened. It was another screw job, to a lesser degree.
Yeah, it's just Paul Heyman for you, though, isn't it? He's such a good storyteller. And even back then, he was, it was an absolute masterstroke. And, everyone goes on about saying Paul Heyman's responsible for Brock Lesnar's rise so quickly as what it was, because he was the great mouthpiece for him. But, you've got to give kudos to Vince here, because he's the one that put them together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. And remember, these photos have been floating around now, because I think we are celebrating, obviously, nearly 20 years. Mm-hmm. Jesse Ventura brought out Brock Lesnar first. These Minnesota, I don't know what it is, man. It must be something with either listening to Prince or the, waters of Lake Minnetonka in Minnesota, because these guys just it's probably the most impressive area in the world to bring in talent. LOD, Kurt Hennig, that Rick Rude, the list goes on and on of people from Minnesota. So why not have Jesse the Body?
Axe and Smash.
Yes, Darso and what the hell, this other guy. But anyway, just something with Minnesota. I don't know what it is.
Okie doke. So we'll start off on this one. We'll just look at the cards a little bit detail, and we'll delve a little bit more deeper into Brock and Big Show. So first on the card, we had Lance Storm and William Regal defeating Goldust and the Hurricane. I used to like fun matches like this. Thought Lance and Regal were really good together with the way that they kind of were with this serious style of wrestling and whatnot. And Goldust and Hurricane, two absolutely brilliant. So over. Goldust. I mean, I think Goldust, especially, Dustin Runnels, he doesn't get the respect or the plaudits that he should do, because that Goldust character got reinvented so many times, and so many times he got that character over. He's done it with Booker T, he's done it with the artist formerly known as Goldust, he's done it again with Cody with Stardust, and there's so many different times he reinvented the character ever so slightly, but it just got over, did it not?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, although with a couple of hits, you're going to have some misses there. So one was the stuttering gimmick. I wasn't too into, the sexual obsession with Razor Ramon and trying to touch him and stuff like that. But I can understand how this guy just constantly stayed relevant, and he was a beloved character. Somehow he still is a beloved character. And he's probably he's one of the best workers in AEW right now.
That's it. And let's not forget that character. If you look at it just as, on the basis of the character, of the meat and veg of the character, it's not really a character that you'd look at and think that'd still be relevant how many years after.
Yeah, exactly. He was a cinemaphile. He was a guy that just always quoted movies and obsessed that and related movies to actual real life, which I think we all do, but we just don't dress up like him. I mean, I have the robe in the back, but this is a guy, when you go to a match, all right, I know when you go to a wrestling event, okay, for a major company, the first thing you want to hear and what gets the biggest pop, okay, and that's a recognizable entrance. And that first match is where the impact happens and the crowd starts to roar. If I recall, Goldust came out first as soon as you heard that, and everybody popped. And then also you had the Hurricane come out too. So four professionals in that match. Yeah, clearly.
Okie doke. And then we moved on to the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Spike Dudley, and Jeff Hardy versus 3 Minute Warning, Rosie and Jamal and Rico. Elimination tables match. Time of the match 14 minutes 22.
We
Not
have
a
a
bad
few.
match as well.
No, and we have some recognizable spots though too. We have where Rico was shouting at Jeff to get in the ring. He's saying, "Where are you?" So because Jeff was, this is before Jeff had his problems too, but he was all over the place. Remember that? Jeff was a guy that just was everywhere.
He was.
Think of it as Ray Phoenix.
Well, I seen a thing about Rico, funny enough, not long ago. Do you know what he does nowadays, Rico?
Las Vegas police officer.
He is a police officer. Yes, he is.
Yes.
This is a far cry from the highlights of WWE.
Yes, and he also has a win over Ric Flair too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Another big thing that happened in that match, though, and this is when they said, you know what? Let's reformat. Who came out to help Bubba Ray?
Oh God, you've caught me now.
Reverend Devon.
It was Reverend Devon. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. And here's another key thing. All right. When I went to SummerSlam 02, I remember a bus pull up and they had to, you get to meet some of the old workers or the new workers there. And who was there? Batista. So I said, Batista had his Walkman on. And remember, he was Deacon Batista. He was Deacon Batista at the time with Devon. So Batista came out. He had his Walkman on with the Discman that was actually this big. And I said, what do you listen to, Batista? He goes, Nelly. 2002, folks.
Do you know what always makes me laugh at that is like when he used to have Deacon Batista with the box and he'd be going, a donation. I still love it. Absolutely loved it.
Reformat.
Right.
Reformat.
I love on this match out. The one thing I'll say about this match is if you're going to try and get people on the card and have a fun match, this is the way to do it. Instead of just having 6 mans for the sake of having 6 mans or whatever else you're going to do, this was an absolutely awesome kind of, just a really good filler match just to get the crowd into it a bit more. And, it's how to use a gimmick match well.
Yeah. It was a banger of an opener for the pay-per-view too.
Yeah.
I remember because I do believe that's when they had the Power Man 5000 music going,
Yeah.
The bombshell.
Oh, sorry if I keep opening my mouth, guys. I've got a bloody broken rib, and that's it. But sometimes it hurts me when I move. And third match that we got on the card was Billy Kidman versus Jamie Noble with an idiot. Brilliant match.
One of the most underrated matches you could watch. It's a hidden gem, guys. And Jamie Noble announced yesterday that he's retiring from in-ring. Yeah, he's retiring from in-ring matches. So, Jamie Noble, we loved you. When you were in WCW, we knew there was bigger things. I'm glad that they picked you up. I'm glad they gave you a very lengthy run as a cruiserweight champion too. And to pair him up with the Tough Enough winner of Nydia was very interesting.
Yeah, I love that whole yokel character as well from here. It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah. When he won
yeah, baby.
And then he had people make out with Nydia because it turned him on.
Brilliant. Oh, but no, I really, really liked this show. I really liked Jamie Noble. There's a reason why he become a backstage booker.
Yep.
Because he's a really good wrestler. You can't be a booker unless you're a good wrestler, in my opinion. You can,
it's a quick match, guys, but it's worth it's probably about, what does it say, 7-8 minutes? Yeah, it's about a 7-8 minute match, and there's a time where there's a spike DDT that Jamie Noble does in the match off the second turnbuckle to Kidman. Looks fantastic, guys. Kidman I wish that his career went longer. I really did.
Yeah, I bet you wishes his marriage went longer to Tori Wilson as well. But no, I don't think we ever seen the full Billy Kidman in WWE. I thought the best of his best days were in WCW for sure.
Feuding with who? Page? Who feuding with Page or Hogan?
I just think his in-ring work, obviously his feuds and whatnot, were probably left a bit to be desired in WCW as well as WWE. But if you go back and watch some of his actual matches, he was at his best and peak there. I don't think we've seen the full array of talent that Billy Kidman had in WWE.
100% agreed. 100% agreed on that.
Yeah. Next, we had Victoria versus Trish Stratus in a hardcore match for the women's championship. I liked 2002 Trish Stratus. I thought this was where she really started getting her flow.
Yeah. It would continue for a few years because I think Jazz came in at that point too, and was a tough broad. Also recently retired. Victoria was just what a great worker. What a great worker. Somebody that guided. Remember, she started out as one of Godfather's hoes too.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
I mean, if
you look at
the
that
hoe
whole
into a housewife, you finally did it.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the whole women's division at this point, you had Jazz, you had Miss Jacqueline, Miss Jackie, Ivory. These two. There was not a bad little division going on here, wasn't there? It's just again, at the time they just didn't push them very well, did they?
Yeah, they focused a lot more on looks still at that point, but these guys also had ability. I mean, Ivory was an original glow girl. That's what people don't realize. So when they introduced her, she was introduced as love interest to Mark Henry, I think, came out with a little scarf, but so talented. The fact, this is a whole other discussion, but the fact that they made her job out to China is just a travesty. Whatever, just to soothe China's ego. I mean, we could go. That's a 2-hour topic that you and I could talk about.
Do you know what one of my friends said to me the other day, and it really got me thinking, and it's something I'm gonna have to look into more, and just maybe just to kind of put the similarities, but it did get my brain going. He turned around and said, Charlotte Flair is the 2021 China.
I guess. Charlotte's got so much talent. And, are you saying personality wise and demands wise? Then 110% agree.
Because she was the big girl, and she sometimes got frustrated because she was probably a bit too big to wrestle some of the women on there. Do you know what I mean? And whatnot. She just didn't look the part. I mean, I think Charlotte's a really good worker. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think she looks quite right in that division.
Nah, I mean,
when I went to WWE Live last Sunday, I didn't realize, right? She is not that much bigger than Sasha Banks. Correct. And I was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that, that she has so much heat and clout. Well, the main thing, not to go too into what's going on today, but, she's just not really a locker room bully, but she thinks she knows better for everybody else in the business. And I guess that's knowing and being in the business for so long. But, but here's the other thing.
She reminds me of her dad a lot, where it's kind of when you read back stuff over Ric Flair, and he was very self-entitled and very demanding and whatnot. It seems like Charlotte's very much like her dad, and she's probably listening to her dad a bit too much, maybe as well.
Yeah, that's fine, but she shouldn't be calling shots for other people there, and that's what the main thing is right now. So, but you know what? Overall, though, China tried to go for her $1 million guaranteed contract, and then have incentives and merchandise sales on top of that. And they were like, "What are you doing? You're not worth that much." She was, but she wasn't, because she just ended up being a pest and didn't want to do jobs and whatever. So anyway, the women's division back then in 2002 was definitely something that would plant the seeds as far as what we have today, thankfully.
Yeah.
But Victoria, awesome character. Victoria was great.
Okie doke. And then we had Big Show versus Brock Lesnar. Brock with Paul Heyman. Again, really good match. For one thing I'll say with the Big Show, I would never sit here and say the Big Show couldn't work, because he could. I felt like he struggled sometimes when he kind of got in with the wrong person. But overall, he was a really good worker and a really good attraction. I just think you've got these type of people that the belt just doesn't look good on. Andre the Giant was one of them. I could never envision Andre. I know he had the championship slightly at one point, but I don't know whether it's just the wrestling brain in me telling me that he doesn't need the belt, but he just never looked right with the title.
Okay, who would look better with the belt? Would it be Big Show or Paul White, or Luther Reigns?
Yeah, definitely Big Show. Definitely.
I like Luther Reigns.
You're the only one.
He was a good cabinet mate. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. As I say, I'm not saying that I don't like Big Show. I really liked Big Show. Really liked Big Show. But I just didn't really like him with the belt. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. Do you know what I mean? It
Right.
just didn't. For me, he just didn't need it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I did like the fact that they put the ECW championship on him when they redid that. I thought that
Mm,
was a smart move.
yeah,
I really
and
did.
he does look well in certain bits with the belts, but he I don't know. He just for me, it just didn't really need it. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. I agree. He's an
Yeah.
attraction. He's like the boogeyman.
Hmm. And to be fair, I was probably right in what I was saying because he actually only held the belt for just under a month, 28 days, I believe.
He got it back. Lesnar got it back from him, correct?
No, Kurt Angle beat him at Armageddon and took the belt off him at
Oh,
the very next pay-per-view. And then it was Brock got it back at the WrestleMania the following year, which just shows you that he didn't really have a lot of faith in Big Show to carry the belt if that was the case. Do you know what I mean?
he's 3 years removed from being sent down to actually learn his craft more. Remember, Big Show came in '96 as the Giant, Andre the Giant's son. And when they brought him up to WWE in St. Valentine's Day Massacre, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
when he appeared, he came in for a little bit. Then they had to send him back down because they were like, this guy's a liability, man. So his craft wasn't even made at that point. He wasn't really, perfecting it. But
No,
now he's loved. He is so loved right now, though, and I think that's
yeah.
why he's so popular. But back then, I could see why they wouldn't have it on him. Plus,
Mm,
that singlet with the pants and just that stupid haircut and I don't know, he just didn't look like a champion.
no, no. As I say, I just no disrespect to him. It just seems to me like he's just one of them athletes that kind of you just looked at him and he just never looked right with a title. As I say, even Andre, I'm telling you now, put that belt on Andre and he just looks weird. He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
It's just,
Oh,
and I think that's the thing with Big Show. He's just never needed it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I have his pager number, so I'm gonna page him and tell him to watch his video so he could come and break the rest of your ribs.
Mm-hmm. Okie doke. So after that, yeah, piss off. I'm just gonna ignore you on that part. He's in America, so I'm just gonna turn around and tell him that you called him a jerk.
That's true. Yeah.
Okie doke. So we'll move on to the triple threat match. We've got Los Guerreros defeated Edge and Rey Mysterio, and Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. I don't know why I can't see Edge and then follow up with anyone else but Christian. It just
They go hand in hand. And
mm.
Edge has won the title with several different people too, including Hulk Hogan.
Do you
He
know
won the
what? I
tag
was just
title.
gonna say that when he won that with Hulk Hogan, I'll never forget watching that, right? And like I don't, Edge is from a different era, isn't he? And obviously he's more from our own kind of age group. I know he's a little bit old. How old is he, about 40, is he?
44, 45, something
Oh,
like
so
that,
he's
I
a bit
think.
older than us, isn't it? But I always looked at that when I was watching it and kind of thinking in my head, imagine like, Edge has probably watched Hogan as a kid like us, and then he gets to like win a title with him. And I remember watching it, even now it still brings a smile to my face.
That's like you or I winning the tag team titles with like
Austin,
Christian
yeah,
or Chris Jericho or something like that.
yeah, yeah. Even Austin, do you know what I mean? Or The Rock. It's probably more like us winning the title with The Rock, isn't it?
That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I imagine. Can
Well,
go
that's
on.
because well, him and his 250 million subscribers, would be like, who the hell are these guys?
Yeah, we could think he's probably have lots of his tequila knocking around as well,
I
which would be quite
actually,
cool.
well, I was talking with my wife about how popular and over the guy is because I think the only person that has more followers than him is Ronaldo, and which is nuts. And I had thought about it, and I go, I remember this guy calling Kevin Kelly a hermaphrodite.
He was awesome, wasn't he? Thing is, do
Hermie.
you know the biggest thing with The Rock? I always think is he's got that larger than life attitude and character and stuff, but he's such a hard worker, and you can see he's a genuinely nice dude. You know, even like his promos or interviews that he does now, he's no different than The Rock that was back in the day. Do you know what I mean?
Same guy.
Yeah,
It's the same guy. And especially if he comes back, it's going to be the same person. Maybe
yeah,
he could do a little, he could say whatever the hell he wants.
yeah.
Seriously, he's got that prowess. Same, it's like Punk, like Punk could say whatever he wants. So does Kingston now. Well, that's a,
That's another story.
it's Punk. Yeah, it's Punk. But,
All right, okay. So on this one, we had obviously
one thing,
Chavo.
shout out to Eddie Kingston for for what he wrote to the Players Tribune. That was great.
Uh,
Yeah. So, but back to 2002, where Eddie Kingston was watching this with us.
yeah. Eddie and Chavo were amazing, weren't they, back in the day, together as a tag team. They were so good. And this is probably the era where we started seeing a lot more mishmash tag teams.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The likes of Edge and Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. I think this is when we really truly started losing the likes of Team Angle and
Well,
some of the real.
Team Angle happened later, like a year or two later, correct?
Oh, sorry, it was, yeah. So we actually went back to that. But do you remember, like, if you look even back to the Attitude Era when you had like the Nation of Domination, you had DX, you had New Age Outlaws. There was a lot of teams, wasn't there, back then?
Yeah.
And then this is the first time when we really started seeing a lot of kinds of mishmash tag teams that didn't have a
Yeah.
theme to them.
Yeah. And this
Too
is
Cool's
actually
another one, sorry, as well.
Yeah. I mean, right. Too Cool was actually, they were not always dancers. They came out like that, and it was kind of very homoerotic. It was weird. And then speaking of, you had Chuck and Billy that came about, but started dressing, like each other. Jamal and Rosie kind of came out as street thugs, but unmatching. Remember, this promo during this match, or right before this match, was the famous Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit one, where tag team partners don't shake hands, they hug. So Andy, when I see I gotta hug you, I'm sorry.
I'm glad that we've got a whole Atlantic between us, my man.
Hey, look, it's only yes. You know what? You if you were to come here, you're going to stall it more and go take the Pacific. Okay, so
just a one thing on 2-minute war, a 3-minute warning as well is obviously Rosie would go on to be Umaga, who sadly passed away. So much potential in that guy.
Yeah. And Jamal, members, and I'm glad that they kept Jamal around too, to actually be the superhero in training. Yeah, and the acronym of shit doesn't really help. Do you know that that's actually why Goldberg stepped away?
Was it?
Because he said that he saw SHIT, superhero in training, on a shirt, and he says, Jamal, he's like, what are you doing? Oh, this is my gimmick. And he was so offended that it said shit. And he's like, is this what they're gonna make me be? Is this what they're gonna do to me? So, and that's why, yeah, he said he was upset by that and said he had to change. Crazy. He was like, I gotta rethink things. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's madness, isn't it? And then we move on to our main event.
We're missing a key point. We are missing a key point before that. So Matt Hardy was version 1 at that point. Chris Nowitzki was also on Raw as the Harvard grad. They came out, cut a promo on the Garden.
They did.
And it was kind of interrupted by somebody. I think some sort of mathematician, correct? Big Papa Pump came out.
He did.
Killed him. Huge pop. Amazing pop. As soon as we heard that siren, we stood up.
Yeah.
And then we also laughed when he said, give me the fucking mic. And that was picked up on the microphone.
Yeah, he's Bron Breaker's Uncle Scott is not a guy that I don't think he has a great run, does he, with WWE?
Oh, it was awful, because if you look at the Royal Rumble in 2004, or 2000. I think it was 2004.
Yeah.
They just knocked him out. It was so lackluster. It was like Ambrose's last
Yeah.
run, where it's just like, all right, bye bye, before he left, and now he's in
Yeah.
AEW. It's
It,
crazy.
I know. I mean, I think with Scott as well, though, he just always had a bad attitude, didn't he? You know what I mean? And I think he was never gonna. And I think after he messed up that match at WrestleMania with Triple H, I think, even
Yeah.
though Triple H really has got to be blamed for that as well, but he's never going to be, is he? So
No, no, no. I don't know what this company's doing. WWE is doing right now, because I think it's almost like they're trying to get rid of any remnants of Triple H at this point too. Do you know?
definitely.
By the way, do you know? I finally figured out why I'm blocked by Sean Ross Sapp.
Go on.
I'm serious. I'm not even kidding you. When he announced that Triple H had a cardiac issue, okay, which
Hmm.
of course,
Yeah.
it leaves it open to interpretation. I said, is this why Kevin Dunn and I'm sorry, is this why Bruce Pritchard and Vince took the reins off of NXT off of Triple H?
Triple H, yeah.
The amount of hate I got because it was, oh my God, I can't believe that you're thinking about the business and the contingency plan. I said, yes, because every business has a contingency plan in case of an emergency like this.
Yeah, yeah.
The amount of hate I got from that, because obviously it was more than that. It could have been a heart attack at that point. I think it is, but I just think it's crazy. So I don't know. That's why he blocked me, because I made the mention of that. So
What's the hell?
sour grapes. But anyway, Scott Steiner, Braun Breaker, we love you. So
Yeah.
history time, correct?
Hey, yeah. So obviously, Bron's Scott's nephew.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's got his dad's brain, because his dad always seems to be the level-headed one, didn't he? So
Yeah.
he's obviously got his uncle's body, but let's hopefully he's got his dad's brain.
Yeah.
You could just imagine Vince, couldn't you? He's got the body of Pump, but the brain of Rick.
I love those big beefy men. You Braun, I want you to break me. I want to see you sweat. I go
Right.
pro.
Yeah. You say, like, if you could imagine years ago, like Vince turning around, like you could imagine, like, have you seen that? Obviously, that meme, that picture that goes around of Vince in the chair, like with his head back like that, and you could imagine like Vince, like a depressive face on his look on like a meme, and someone saying like, oh, when Scott Steiner comes to WWE, and it was like, I wish Scott had the attitude of Rick, but still had Scott's body. And then next minute, is have a picture of Bron Breakker, and then him like in his chair.
It writes itself.
What you could do is you could have like Vince with a sad face saying that. Then you could say underneath it, you could have someone saying Rick Steiner's wife's pregnant, and Vince like with his little pop-up face, and then it goes, he's growing up, and then fucking a chair. It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? You could imagine, like, do you know what? I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make that.
Oh, we have to do that. We have to
Yeah.
make like Braun Breaker. Actually, it would be great if we had Vince's face on Mae Young. She's giving birth.
The
And then
rubber glove.
Broad's head comes out like this.
Oh God! Right, main event. We had Shawn Michaels defeated Triple H, who was the champion with Ric Flair, Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, and Rob Van Dam in the first ever kayfabe Eric Bischoff's creation of the Elimination Chamber, which now is was a yearly pay-per-view.
It's they should just call this out, like, they did it. I think they switched it to War Games now to be that same thing. I like the Elimination Chamber. It was amazing to see it. Very big, very big. They actually stopped. They usually do tours of the Garden every like Sunday, and they were like free. But this was restricted view that day because we wanted to take pictures of it. We didn't have camera phones back then. We had, actual like the roll films, disposable cameras. But they didn't have it. We weren't available to see it. But it was just a massive thing. But it was just so cool. Saliva was playing at WWE New York. So I heard
Mhm.
Always about 487 times that day by them, which is a good song, to be fair. And they also played Chris Jericho's theme, The King of My World, which is actually really good. They played that from The World, and they would splice that in. Jericho was a heel at this time. Triple H was a heel at this time.
Yeah.
You know, you had a couple of different heels. You had 4 different baby faces. Or was Kane and Booker T a tag team at that point?
I do not recall. I'll be
Okay.
totally honest with you. I believe they was, or they will become not long after.
Yeah, or RVD and Kane would become that right afterwards too, I
I
think.
think they would, yeah. But we
Yeah.
had first entrance was Rob Van Dam. He was eliminated by Booker T. Booker T was eliminated by Chris Jericho. Kane eliminated by Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho eliminated by Shawn Michaels. Obviously, leaving the final 2 in there to be who's had some great matches that year in Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Was really happy for Shawn here. You know, I believe everything happens for a reason, and I believe when Shawn went in 97, 98, when he lost to Austin, he went missing for all them years. One, I feel like it was the right time because it was the Austin era, and I don't think Shawn would have fitted into that kind of genre at the time. And when he come back in 2002 and he was healthy and everything else, and we got one hell of a run out of him after that, which I was just very grateful for.
It's led to some of the best matches of his career.
Yeah.
Because they actually had capable workers to go against him.
Yeah.
They did back then too, but he was very pig-headed, and he was
Yeah.
just, unfortunately, like we said, the drugs, get in the way. The
Yeah.
prescription pills, the drinking, stuff like that.
Yeah. And his
Ask
whole
anybody.
attitude was with him, wasn't it? It was, I don't even think most of it was the drugs with him. It was
It
just
was
his
awful.
overall attitude, wasn't it?
It was awful. It was
Mm.
awful. I mean, he got the crap kicked out of him by Marines because of
He did.
he started with them, and they grabbed his head. And who was in the car with him? I believe it was Davy Boy.
Davy Boy, it was, yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of closed the door on Davy Boy, and he couldn't
Yeah.
get out. But they
Yeah. He
five of them
probably
kicked
didn't want to.
He was a little bit smarter. He was, but that was another guy that his career was cut short by that stuff. But
Yeah.
going back to Michaels, this was the pinnacle of his career. And a couple of years later, he'd have one of the best matches ever, and that was against Kurt
I'd say
Angle
the
and
O2 run,
Undertaker.
the O2 run was the best of his career.
Yeah.
I know some people go back to his matches with Hart, with the Iron Man match and that. Yeah, but week in, week out here, he was having great matches.
And it's so amazing too, because in 2001, you weren't even thinking about him actually returning to the ring.
No.
So for 2002,
gone.
Yeah, and 3 months after his debut in an unsanctioned match, he comes in and just it steals the show.
See, I read though as well. Do you know when they had that unsanctioned match? Is they even said that was going meant to be a one deal gig because they didn't know whether Michaels could still go or not, and whether his body is hold up. And then after they had that match and the reviews and the way they were like, yeah, we're off to the races again now.
Yeah, they caught lightning in a bottle, and they did the right thing with it. I think AEW should have done the same thing. With what they're doing now, because if you really want to look in retrospect, you could look at Punk. That's the formula right there. Look at what HBK did, and Triple H also. You got to give credit. A lot of people don't like the fact that his reign was the way it was. Especially with that terrible booking of him and Booker T for that WrestleMania. Awful. And what they did there. But with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, just amazing chemistry. And you have to give credit. I'm going to even say Triple H is top 3 wrestlers I've ever watched live. And no, I'll go on any women saying that.
No,
he put over the right people.
He did, and I've always said with Triple H, I thought Triple H is a really, really solid wrestler. He's he's called the game for a reason. He understands the game very, very well, and I feel like he gets a rough deal because he's married to Stephanie, and he always has done because of that. And do I believe he still would have had the career he had? Yes, I do.
Yeah. Wouldn't you though? Look, she's an attractive woman, daughter of the boss. Wouldn't you? If she was attracted to you, come on. Everybody's got to stop that crap, It's just He was one of the best, and the fact that he put over his friend like this, you know, in just a match where they actually knew it wasn't just like, here, do these moves to me, this will be great.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's just back and forth. It was wonderful, and
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels gives you reason to believe. He really does with any
Mm.
outcome. It's amazing, and I actually still have the confetti from that actual match when he won.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's bosses that. Right, guys. Well, this is the end of 2002 November. Let us know what you think in the comments about these formats, guys. It seems to be getting a lot of people watching, a lot of people liking the videos, which is really good as always. But let us know if there's any years you want to see us do. Obviously, we're trying to keep within the month of the year that we are now. We're just going to look back over the different years. So please do catch us again next time. We'll be back with November, I believe, and then we'll start moving into December. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon. Until
Subscribe,
then,
guys.
yeah, hit the subscribe button, like and subscribe, hit the beautiful notification bell to get your notifications when we go live. Take care, guys. Bye now.